She exposed the system live. In a district Trump won by 22 points, a Democrat is gaining ground. With rising costs and a healthcare crisis, Tennessee voters are fed up. Watch the shockwaves hit the GOP.
And after Marjorie Taylor Greene's shocking resignation announcement, House Republicans are reportedly preparing for more to come. A senior House Republican told Punchbowl News this week, quote, "More explosive early resignations are coming. It's a tinderbox. Morale has never been lower. Mike Johnson will be stripped of his gavel, and they will lose the majority before this term is out." Even former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy agrees with this sentiment. During an appearance on Fox News this week, he issued a stern warning about the future of the Republican Party.
And I found Marjorie to be very effective, but she's almost like a canary in a coal mine. And this is something inside Congress they better wake up, because they're going to get a lot of people retiring, and they got to focus.
What he has to say is good. George Conway is back with us, along with Reena Shah, geopolitical advisor and strategist and senior advisor for Our Republican Legacy. I'm George, you've been here. Hi. Reena, welcome. Welcome.
Hi.
George
Nice
has
to be
moved
here.
in. Chaos. George has moved in. So Reena, is the former House Speaker correct? Like, there's danger, Will Robinson. That's an old, dated reference. The old folks. So now you get it. You get it.
They did a remake.
Reena, is the former House Speaker correct? There's danger ahead for Speaker Johnson's caucus.
For Johnson, look, they've rallied around him really well for a while. I think his latest comments are a little tricky. I think the position he's been put in this fall, definitely he's in the hottest water he's been in. But I don't think he's fully in danger of losing the gavel. That's just because people know that, again, the chaos right before midterms will not bode well for the party. They've got a number of other issues, topmost being economy. Trump is in the tank on those approval numbers, in deep red places, coast to coast. So why would they want to get rid of another dear leader?
Well, but Reena, but I'm also thinking about the numbers. Now, you got a special election in Tennessee. Was it Tennessee, the 7th Congressional District, where Trump won it by double digits, but the Democrat, Afton Bain, she's within striking distance. When you factor in the margin of error, it's a tied race. She could win. So just in terms of numbers in the caucus, couldn't he lose his?
The numbers have always been dicey, though. This isn't different. I mean, the math is, of course, ever changing, but I don't really believe McCarthy. He didn't even see his own demise coming. I'm sorry. This is a guy that didn't really have foresight.
The reason
let's not listen to him.
was laughing is because I said, well, who's listening to McCarthy?
That's what I'm saying.
Some of this, anytime that I think that we see Kevin McCarthy talking about Mike Johnson, there is some jealousy and anger there, right?
Well,
Just a little bit. Because Mike Johnson has a completely different relationship with the folks, the Republican folks.
He has a relationship.
He has his finger on the
and
pulse
McCarthy
of this
did not.
caucus
And
in a way McCarthy did.
And that was the
Agreed.
difference, is that McCarthy, the people that hated McCarthy hated him for personal reasons and myriad reasons. It was all over the place. And you know, one of the things that I think is really interesting, though, is that the resignations that could be coming, everyone's like warning about these resignations, but at the end of the day, they're less about Johnson and all about Trump, right, Conway? Like, there doesn't seem to be, like, people aren't leaving because they're just, like, so upset with Mike Johnson. They're leaving because of Trump.
This is sort of a different but extended version of things we saw during Trump 1, where all the decent representatives, the ones who really weren't Trumpy, started just dropping like flies and leaving because they couldn't deal with having to face a general electorate and having to make promises to a crazy base. And now you're seeing, you know, a lot of these same fissures have always been there. The fact that you have Trump doing his best to help his rich buddies, whereas the people, the working class people who are basically tricked into voting for Trump, you know, are tricked into thinking that he's working for them when he clearly is not, and he couldn't give a damn about them. And now you have the fissure is getting worse in a sense, is that the margin is moving. You have people who have been MAGA who are in districts where the base is just whittling down to its hardcore base. So they're even more rabid than before. and then the rest of the electorate is completely pissed off at Trump, including some Trump voters. And so they're in between this rock and a hard place caused by Trump.
Because no matter how MAGA someone is, they care more about their money and what they're spending and the prices, right? That is what Joe Biden learned a little bit too late, is that you cannot trick people into thinking eggs are a different price than what they see when they go to the grocery
and Trump is like, okay, what's Trump doing? He's fussing with his huge ballroom with his architects. He's getting a 747 from the Qataris. Use 747. Okay, use 747 for the Qataris. Yes, let's say that.
So I do want to argue with the premise of your question a little bit, which is you said this is not about Mike Johnson, this is about Trump. But I do think at this point in time, they're essentially the same people. I mean, I always think back to that Wall Street Journal quote where Steve Bannon says that Congress is basically the Duma.
And Trump told lawmakers or told someone behind closed doors that
I'm the speaker.
He was the speaker.
Right. And if Mike Johnson was like previous iterations of speakers, I'll even give Kevin McCarthy just a little bit of credit here, but someone like Paul Ryan, who represented the actual interests of the House, understood how the Office of Legislative Affairs worked, tried to implement more of a process instead of letting himself be a pawn, things might be a little different now. We wouldn't see, I think, this rush to just leave Congress, or at least this reaction to the polling to now completely distance themselves and become completely exasperated with the institution.
If I may pull that thread, this is the one moment this fall that stuck out to me with Marjorie Taylor Greene's resignation announcement. I heard the tones of America first. So if there's going to be really any split, that's where they're looking. Because don't forget, America first screams follow the money. They used to be conspiracy theorists. They still are, a lot of them. And they're saying, where is our money going? Abroad, at home. They are calling it out at every level. So I'm just saying, don't think this is an actual divorce within the Republican Party, but you're seeing this new sort of energy. And with Marjorie saying she's leaving, there will be a couple people who pull that. Again, Thomas Massie will be one of them, but it may start to get into the psyche of Johnson and other leaders in the House GOP conference, because they really feel that, hey, to hold on to these people and to deal in places where Democrats are closing the gap with Republicans. And don't forget, Democrats are actually running some really good candidates this year. I'm already seeing them emerge in places where I would not have guessed. And so the one thing I will remind viewers, though, Republicans always fall in line real well. Yeah. Despite what I just said, look for that to be that common piece.
What you just witnessed was a historic moment in the making, a race no one saw coming. And yet, here we are, with the power structure trembling. Tennessee, a state that's been a Republican stronghold for decades, is now on the brink of an upheaval. A district that Trump won by 22 points is suddenly a battleground, and the establishment is scrambling to hold on to control. This wasn't just another campaign. This was the sound of the system cracking under the weight of its own greed. Let's break it down. Tennessee State Representative Afton Bain is challenging the status quo with an urgency that's resonating across the state. Why? Because the people are fed up. Voters are drowning in a crisis of affordability, sky-high grocery prices, healthcare costs that force people to drive hours just to see a doctor, and wages that don't match the rising cost of living. And what has the GOP been doing? They've been throwing millions of dollars into a race they thought was safe, but all they've done is expose the fault lines in their own party. Here's the truth they didn't want to face. Republicans are out of touch with the people they claim to represent. Afton Bain nailed it when she pointed out that the only reason this race is even close is because Republicans and their billionaire friends have spent more time looking after their own interests than the real needs of working-class Americans. And let's be clear, this isn't just about healthcare. It's about a complete failure to govern. Afton's campaign is a direct challenge to the establishment, and that's why they're fighting so hard. They're desperate because they know this race is about more than just one seat. It's about the future of the country. What Bain is offering isn't just a seat in Congress. It's a chance for real change. A chance to take healthcare away from the billionaires who've hoarded it and put it back in the hands of the people. This isn't just a policy difference. It's a moral imperative. And here's the kicker. The GOP's response has been to throw everything they can into the race. TV ads, rallies, money, but none of it's working. Why? Because voters are seeing through the lies. Trump's rally in Tennessee wasn't just a show of force, it was a sign of panic. If the GOP thought they had this race locked down, they wouldn't need to call in the reinforcements. But they did, and it's only made their desperation clearer. Let's talk about the bigger picture here. The GOP doesn't have a plan. They're running on the same old promises that they've been making for decades. Lower taxes, less government interference, but it's all smoke and mirrors. What have they actually delivered? A healthcare crisis that's been ignored for years, rising prices that hit the working class the hardest, and a political system that's been completely co-opted by special interests. It's a system that protects the wealthy while leaving everyone else to fend for themselves. And Afton Bain is calling it out. The real story here isn't just about this election. It's about what's broken in our system and how the people are waking up to it. This race has become a referendum on everything that's wrong with Washington. The unchecked power of billionaires, the corporate greed that drives policy, and the complete disregard for the needs of the people. But what's really starting to backfire for the GOP is their own overreach. Redistricting in Tennessee, a classic example of political manipulation, has only made things worse for them. Nashville, a Democratic stronghold, was split into 3 Republican districts to dilute its power, and now it's blowing up in their faces. Republicans thought they could cut Nashville's strongest precincts out of the equation and secure more power, but instead, they've fueled an uprising. The people of Tennessee are responding to that injustice. They see what the GOP has done, and they're fighting back. Afton Bain isn't just running for office. She's running to give the people of Tennessee a voice again, and the energy behind her campaign is palpable. It's not just about winning, it's about sending a message that the people of Tennessee will not be bought or silenced by billionaires who want to control their lives. Afton's victory will be a victory for working families, for healthcare reform, and for a future where ordinary Americans can expect better. If she wins, it won't just be about flipping a district, it will be about flipping the script on how politics in this country work. But even if she doesn't win, the lesson here is clear: the tide is shifting. This race in a deep red district is a reflection of something bigger happening across the country. People are tired of the same old politics. They're tired of the empty promises, and they're ready for change. Democrats, Republicans, it doesn't matter. If you don't listen to the people, you won't have a seat at the table for long. This isn't just a Tennessee issue. This is a national wake-up call. And what we're seeing is that voters are starting to reject the status quo in favor of a future where they don't have to fight for basic dignity every day. It's time for accountability. No one is above the Constitution. Not the billionaires, not the politicians, and certainly not the corporate interests that have hijacked our democracy. This election is just one example, but it's a powerful one. It shows that when the people rise up, they can make a difference. So what's next? We can't let up. We can't sit back and wait for change to come to us. We need to keep pushing, keep demanding better, and keep holding the powerful accountable. This is our moment. This is our time. And if you believe in a better future, if you believe in fighting for the people, then you need to be loud. Share this video. Spread the word. Let's make sure this message doesn't fall on deaf ears. Subscribe to stay informed, stay active, and stay ready. The battle for the future of this country is happening right now. Don't miss it.